Good morning, everyone. Alright, so our safety training today, pass around the safety sheet, please sign it. We're going to talk about lockout, tagout awareness. How many of you guys have heard of that? Okay, everyone's pretty much mostly heard of it. Okay, so one of the hazards that's often overlooked, it's associated with stored or potential hazardous energy. So OSHA has a specific standard to deal with this, and it's often referred to simply as lockout, tagout. Unfortunately, many workers get confused about lockout, tagout because they don't think it applies to them. This might be because they think that lockout, tagout is just for electrical work, and that is a grave mistake. All workers could be exposed to the dangers or hazards of energy. Of hazardous energy. Workers need to be familiar with how lockout tagout could affect them, how to recognize when lockout tagout is needed or is in place, and what is required before doing any job that requires lockout tagout. So lockout tagout is a standard that covers the servicing and maintenance of machines and equipment in which the unexpected energization or startup of the machines or equipment or release of stored energy could harm employees. The standard establishes minimum performance requirements for the control of that hazardous energy. So lockout tagout is required to protect workers from unexpected startup or release of hazardous energy. Failure to properly lock out and tag out equipment can result in injuries to the workers who are servicing, repairing, or adjusting the equipment. Lockout tagout may be required with all types of works and tasks such as plumbing, services, maintenance, cleaning, lubrication, setting up, or making repairs. The OSHA standard, and it tells you what number it is, 1910.147. This standard applies to the control of energy during servicing or maintenance of machines and equipment, servicing or maintenance, workplace activities such as constructing, installing, setting up, adjusting, inspecting, modifying, or maintaining, servicing machines or equipment. These activities include lubrication, cleaning or unjamming of machines or equipment, and making adjustments or tool changes where the employee may be exposed to the unexpected energization or startup of the equipment or release of hazardous energy. So part of understanding lockout tagout is to recognize the types of hazardous energy that a worker may be exposed to on the job. So those types of hazardous energy are chemical, such as chemicals stored in pipes, tanks, or that are held under pressure. So what type of things that are chemical related do we deal with on a regular basis?
Refrigeration, water.
Okay, refrigeration. What else?
Coil cleaner.
Coil cleaner, okay. What about your tanks?
Your tank goes for the chemical, the
Okay.
desalination.
Alright, so pneumatic, trash compactors, compressors, lifting equipment, thermal extreme heat from heating elements or furnaces, or cold energy from refrigeration units or compressed gases. So that's another thing we deal with. Electrical equipment, which can either be wired or operated by cord and plug, we deal with that. Mechanical, stored energy in rotating and moving parts or conveyor belts. And other things we don't deal with, x-rays, radiation, laser, microwave, radio frequencies, things like that. But those are just some of the examples of different types of lockouts. Looking up here in the pictures, you see how the examples of different lockouts. See how they have the wheel chained, they have this chained and locked out. All right, and tag, do not operate, do not operate. Okay. Okay, so recognize when equipment is locked out, tagged out, or both. Look for tags, signs, or locks at startup points, switches, valves, or control panels. Tagout devices are designed to notify other personnel that the machine, tool, or equipment is being worked on and it is unsafe to tamper with it. Lockout devices are designed to keep the equipment from being turned on or energy sources from being released. Never tamper with or remove a lockout or tagout device. Remember the following tips to avoid potential serious injuries. Failure to properly lock out and tag out equipment can result in injuries to the workers who are servicing, repairing, or adjusting the equipment. Recognizing when equipment is locked out, tagged out, or both. Look for tags, signs, or locks at startup points, switches, valves, or control panels. Lockout devices are designed to keep the equipment from being turned on or energy sources from being released. Never tamper with or remove a lockout or tagout device. Only personnel that have received specific training and follow the correct procedures are authorized to perform lockout, tagout. Never attempt to bypass a lockout or tagout device. Okay, so that's just credit stuff, that's nothing important. Okay, so have any of you guys ever had to lock out some kind of device?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what have you locked out, Jesse?
One of those trash compactors, balers for cardboard.
Okay. So was it working properly? Was it jammed?
That do that in the forklift. That one it jammed itself. I believe it was down. It was stuck in the down position.
Right.
Wouldn't release.
Yeah, so someone goes in there and starts messing with it, and then they end up getting hurt. So, you know, you have to have someone who knows what they're doing on that machine to repair it properly, to either release the energy or, you know, probably, a lot of times those things are hardwired, you can't just unplug it. You know, so those are the kind of things you have to do. So what'd you have, Mike, that you had to lock out?
480 3-phase concrete grinder.
Okay,
Gas valves.
yeah, gas valves, okay. So it's important, guys, just to know, you know, that if you see something that's gonna potentially hurt somebody, because it's gonna release energy, I mean, there's also things, that have high pressure in them that can be locked out as well. Tanks, a lot of different tanks that we use that can have gases and things like that. If a valve is bad on it, you know, that's when you basically lock it out, put a tag on it, don't use this, it's got a faulty valve, for an example, and it, you know, can explode on you. So, you guys actually get a quiz this time. Isn't that cool?
No.
Oh, come on.
No.
Take your quiz and pass it down. Everybody gets a quiz.
One cheat sheet.
I have a cheat
Is
sheet.
it multiple choice?
Yes, it is.
Can I just?
And it's only 5 questions. It's only 5 questions, so.
If I pick A on every single one, I'm bound to get one.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, if you pick A, you say you're gonna pick A on every one?
Yeah.
Okay. Go, whatever makes you feel better. And all 5 of these questions we went over just now, but it was quick, so I want to see that you guys were paying enough attention to. They're actually pretty simple, so. Just the one side.
I don't want Ryan drawing dicks on mine.
Oh, okay.
I don't want him
Okay.
stealing my answers.
Yeah, we don't want that.
I'm gonna cheat off Jesse's. He said all the answers are A.
So Jesse's probably the only one done, right, since he marked all his A's. Everybody else done?
Yeah.
Anybody else not
Oh,
done?
there's 2 there.
Okay. All right, we're just gonna go over them. This isn't like a, you know, I'm not gonna see who didn't,
You're not even gonna look at them?
No,
I shouldn't
100%.
answer it at all. Now I'm gonna have to cross stuff out.
Okay, so, I mean, we're on the honor system here, guys, it's more of a learning thing more than me, I'm not trying to be a teacher and see who's, you know, the smartest in the class and who's the dumbest, it's not, it's not about that.
Ooh,
Wait, I shouldn't have raised my hand
First
at that
one.
moment.
if we're looking for dumbest, that's me.
Okay, so first one, lockout devices are designed to keep the equipment from being turned on or energy sources from being released, true or false?
Hey.
You got that one right. That's 1 out of 5. Let's see the next
You're
one.
100% so far, Jesse.
I'm screwed after that.
Workers need to be familiar with A, how lockout tagout could affect them, B, how to recognize when lockout tagout is needed or is in place, C, what is required before doing any job that requires lockout tagout, D, all the above.
Second favorite answer, all the above.
All of the above. Okay. 3, lockout refers to the act of place, the act of place a physical barrier such as a what? Lock, cover, or chain that prevents a machine equipment from being
Plastic
turned
bag
on or
or
activated.
Plastic bag.
So that would be that'd be
Post-it
B.
note.
You're at 33% so far, Jesse.
4. Okay, to avoid serious injuries, never what?
Bypass or tamper with the lock.
Identify and label sources. No.
No. Bypass or tamper with a lockout device. Never bypass or tamper with it. And then the last one, OSHA standard 1910.147 states that the lockout tagout standard applies to the
Scheduling.
no
None of the above.
control of energy.
Ah.
Applies to the control of energy during servicing and or maintaining or maintenance of machines and equipment. Because the energy is what we're talking about. The control of energy is what we're talking about, right? That's how we can get hurt. So that's basically C, final answer. And that should have, if you didn't get all of those right, now you know them all. You can mark them right.
Yes.
All right, so a couple of things for the board today. Mike, your 2 to 5 call for Robert Colpe. That is an estimate that, well, if you look at the job,
I thought it was my 11 too, but all right, 2 to
no,
5.
it's 2 to 5.
Okay.
Let me get on the right, make sure I'm on the right day here.
Move them up.
Okay, dispatch.
Mr. Colby in Santa Ana.
This one here, yeah. Okay, so I guess Brent. What else are we doing at Brent's now? Funston.
Funston is trimming that plenum so that his framers can
Okay.
put their
So-
drywall up.
Robert Colpe, so once you're done with that, that's your next one is until 2 o'clock. But I put on here specifically, so I talked to Kevin this morning. This is the son of Roxanne Dillon and the son's house or whatever. I'm not sure if she owns it or whatever, but she's the one that he's gonna talk to and give pricing, so he does not want any pricing, he just wants you to assess it, figure out what it needs.
Pre-site and the load count.
Then you can give him all of that, and he will do the estimate and give the pricing to her, okay?
Not a problem.
So just make sure no pricing gets given to him at all,
I say nothing.
okay? And Brent, you're good on your job by yourself, just gonna pick up parts this morning. So that was the only real, other than everything else on the board is fine, that's the only thing I wanted to mention for you, Mike. Okay, for you guys, that are working on calls and weekends and things like that, you guys have got to make sure, when you guys are working on a weekend and we promise a customer in dispatch that you're gonna be there between such and such time and such time, we have to make that happen, just like a regular workday. Because this weekend, that didn't happen, and you guys aren't the ones that have to deal with the customers calling and screaming at you. They may get upset by the time you get there, I don't know how that always works out, but, so Jared was on the phone, or taking the phones this weekend, and customers screaming at him because, oh, they promised between this time, and they're still not here, what's going on, they didn't get started till late, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
I didn't tell them anything. They called me at 3 o'clock, and I happened to live an hour and a half away. and I had to pick him up. So it was poorly scheduled from our dispatch side on that one. They expected us to be there within 30 minutes, and I don't teleport very well.
Why not?
I've been working on it, you know.
Well, I think the thing is when they,
His big head doesn't fit the
I think what happened was on his side of it, he said they'll be there like in an hour is what they told him, and that's typically what we,
No, it took
what
me an
they
hour to
tell.
get there. Yeah.
But then it was like 2 hours before you actually got there.
Yeah.
So by the time that happened, then the next call was was backed up and everything else. So, because I think whoever the last call was on Saturday, the last one was between 2 and 6 or something.
was Lingelbach.
Yeah, that one. He was upset.
Oh, he was upset?
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
Oh.
The first one was one thing, but then he was upset too because someone told him between a certain time frame
Oh.
that we were gonna be there a certain time, and we ended up being late, and he was calling back, and because it went to the message center, and they got upset. So, so just I guess the biggest thing is if and he's still learning. He doesn't know where you guys live,
Yeah.
or anything else like
Yeah,
that. So
I heard Ryan
just
explain it to him. He's like, I'm in La
Yeah, I live in La
Mirada.
Mirada.
then I
it's
gotta
like-
go pick him up,
And I'm like,
so
and I wasn't
yeah.
at my house at the time. I was
Oh.
eating, so I'm like, yeah.
Okay.
Usually we try to respond a lot quicker than that.
All right. So he'll have to learn that as well. But just make sure we're communicating that way. And if the customer's going to be, if it's going to be late, make sure you tell let him know, or whoever's on the phone, whatever dispatcher, what time frame it's going to take you. Realistically, just be upfront and honest, so we're not upsetting the
If it
customer.
makes it easier for dispatch, maybe like on the weekend schedule, dispatch should put on the weekends where we all live or where we're coming from. For like me, example, same thing happens to me sometimes,
Well, because you got to go from here all the way up there, get him, and then come
And
back.
sometimes some of my
Yeah.
calls are out here in like Orange or Fullerton, and it takes a while, so.
Right. Okay, so just, you guys, when you're getting that call from whoever the dispatcher is, just make sure you give them a realistic time frame of how long it's gonna take, so he can then communicate it to the customer.
Call them back, yeah.
Because if he doesn't know, then the customer's calling him, he's just assuming, oh, it's not, this shouldn't take him that long to get to you. He hasn't learned that yet, but he'll get there.
Yeah, on-call means we're at home on our couch.
Yeah,
Sleepy.
at least. All right,
Or within the vicinity of our home.
so let's make sure we get all of our time cards filled out, guys, before you leave today, so I can do our payroll tomorrow. Kevin will be back tomorrow, so if you guys need anything today, just, you can call me and I'll help you out the best I can with everything. Anybody have any questions, comments, concerns? No? All right, cool.
Thank you.